So at the end of this week, we are going to begin a research project. So tonight's homework is on determining good sources when you're searching the web to help us make sure that the places we are going are credible and reliable. So hopefully in tonight's video, you're going to learn a couple of different types of search engines, how to get more out of Google, why it's important to think about who published the article you are using, and compare two sites to see which is more trustworthy. So let's go ahead and get started. How much do you really know about search engines? There's actually a couple of different types. The first type is a regular search engine, which is a computer program actually called a spider. It's sometimes also called a web crawler because it crawls around the web exploring for web pages and their links and collecting information. Some of the most important search engines, the ones that we use the most, are Google, Bing, Yahoo, and Ask. These are probably going to be the search engines that you're going to go to on a regular basis. Please don't forget to take notes in your whisk. Now, one thing I'd like for you to do is to go back to Edmodo and click on the link to look at an infographic on how to get more out of Google, since it's the website that the majority of us use on a regular basis. The website you're going to pull up actually looks like this. So I want you to go ahead and go through this infographic and answer the questions in your whisk. Go ahead and pause the video and come back to me when you're ready. All right, so hopefully you're back at this point, and now we can talk about another type of engine called a directory. So this is actually people, not computers, that put an index of information together. So there's people actually editing the information and organizing them into categories. There's some well-known directories, Yahoo directory, Lycos, About, Open Directory Project, and IPL2. I would really suggest, if you're going to try different search engines, that Yahoo and IPL2 are the ones you should possibly look at because they have special directories made especially for students. And then the third type of search engine is called a meta search engine, and these actually send your keywords to several different search engines at the same time. So it searches search engines. You can get a massive amount of results from several different places. The popular meta search engines that you might want to check out are Dogpile and Metacrawler. Honestly, I just want you to use common sense. There's no one search engine directory or meta search engine that covers the entire web. So realize that using only one type of search engine isn't going to do you the most good. Try them all and see if you can get more information by using different ones. And also compare and contrast the results that you find so that you can start seeing their benefits and drawbacks. So one of the biggest things you need to think about as you're looking for different websites is which are trustworthy sources. Something that's really cool about the internet is that it actually has made it possible for anyone to become an author and to publish any information they want. While that's really cool and fun and everybody and their cousin has a blog these days, it also can sometimes make it tricky for those of us that are looking for reliable information. So something to think about. If you've picked a topic and wrote a book on it, how likely is that book going to actually become published into a book that we could buy at Barnes & Noble's? It's probably not very likely. How about if you wrote an article? How likely is that article going to turn up in an actual magazine or newspaper? Again, the possibilities of that are pretty slim. But if you wrote a blog on the same topic, how easy is it to really press the publish post button? It's as simple as one click. So what I want you to really start thinking about is the difference between who's actually publishing the information. If it's just some, neighbor down the street, is that person as reliable as someone writing for CNN.com, for example? So in your whisk, something for you to think about. Why is it important that you take a moment when you're doing this research to think about trustworthy sources or credible, or another fancy word might be valid, a valid source. So answer that question in your whisk and then come back to me. All right, so there are two sites that I have on the same topic that I want us to go ahead and look at and answer a few questions. Both of these websites are based on year-long schooling. Students in the United States go to school for 10 months in a row, on average about 180 to 190 days a year. And then usually they get 2 months off for summer vacation. Some schools, however, in the U.S. are starting to use a different schedule, where they'll attend school for 2 to 3 months and then have a couple of weeks off. Obviously, this is a really controversial topic, and people have a lot of different opinions on this. You're not going to write a paper on this topic. I want to make sure that that's perfectly clear. I just want you to look at 2 different sites to judge which one you think is more trustworthy. I've included the 2 links on the wall in Edmodo, and it also should be in the comments section on this YouTube video. If you can go ahead and open the tab for these 2 different websites and pause the video and answer the questions in your WISC and then come back to me. The 2 websites, let's see. The 2 websites look like this. There's one website for year-round school on Wikipedia, and then there's a following website from NewsHour through OPB. They're both on year-round schooling. I want you to open up a tab just like I have up here for both and answer the following questions in your WISC. Once you've done that, come back and we'll continue. So how many yeses did you end up circling for Wikipedia? Odds are there's some things that you need to think about Wikipedia. I know a lot of us go to Wikipedia. It's one of the first things that comes up in our searches. But you need to realize that Wikipedia allows a large community of users to author a page. Because a large community polices and edits the entries, most of the information is accurate, but anyone can change the entry at any time. And odds of someone catching a mistake and fixing it in this large community, there could be a lag time in between that. So if you're choosing to use Wikipedia, and I know a lot of teachers are going to tell you, don't use Wikipedia. Whatever you do, don't use it. If you choose to use Wikipedia, you really should fact check the info with a second source just to make sure that it is actually reliable information. How about the OPB article for NewsHour? How many yeses did that article get? One thing you need to think about with OPB is it actually is a very reliable source, and it's coming from a really respected news show called NewsHour. This is actually a special article that has extras for students. So because the feature is meant for students, you actually might find it more useful and reliable. So bottom line, which one do you think is more reliable and maybe possibly in the end less work? Fill out the question on your WISC, please. All right, that's it for tonight. I know it was a little bit difficult to have to go between the 2 different articles, but hopefully some of the questions really opened your eyes to what you should be looking for as you search on different websites. So at this point, don't forget to go back to your WISC, do your summary and your question for tonight's concept, and I'll check it tomorrow. Have a good night.